This is the Jaecoo J7 PHEV, a plug-in hybrid which is priced from $47,990 drive away and will offer a combined driving range of 1,200 kilometers. But should you consider this? Well, that is what we're going to find out. So if you are new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and let's get straight into the video. Before we start, what are some of the key things that you need to know before you walk into a showroom? Well, the Jaecoo J7 range is the type of vehicle that goes against the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, and the BYD C-Line 7. And Jaecoo is the more premium version of the Chery Group. So yes, another Chinese brand has landed in Australia. And the whole range starts from $34,990 for the normal petrol versions, and you have a choice between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive depending on the model grade you pick. And like I said, the variant I'm featuring is the top specification PHEV, and when it comes to ownership, everything you need to know about warranty, servicing and running costs is on the screen right now. And for options, there are 8 external colours to pick from. And finally, a big thank you to Jaecoo in Vale, who have allowed me to test drive their demonstrator. And they're located in the Southern Highlands, and if you want to get in touch with them, I've shared their details in the description below. And if we now move on to the design, on the front section, over on the top here, there are LED DRLs, LED indicators, and your main LED headlights are down the bottom here. There's also a big grille over on the front section and plastic body cladding, as after all, this is a mid-sized SUV. And if we now move on to the side view, this version gets a set of 19-inch wheels that are finished off in a two-tone black and silver combination and wrapped in these Kumo tyres. Additionally, you also get plastic body cladding across here and on that lower section, power folding mirrors finished off in black, and as well as piano black window frames. The door handles pop in and out, which is pretty cool, and privacy glass surrounding the third quarter, but not covering the rear windows. And if we now move on to the rear design, at the back, this comes with full LED tail lights and LED light bar with Jaecoo integrated within that setup. There's also plastic body cladding on that lower section, J7 and PHEV badging. And I've heard some mixed stories whether or not the designer works for Jaecoo or Jaecoo owns 50% of Range Rover. I don't know if that is completely true, but if anyone knows, write down what that is in the comments down below, and also share your feedback on how this looks. Right, moving on inside, you get a remote key with keyless entry, walk up and walk away door locking and unlocking. And finally, to go, you just hit drive and away you go. And when it comes to presentation, this looks pretty good for the price point. There are some nice touches. You also get a panoramic glass sunroof, which you can open and close. Ambient lighting with a choice of colors. And if we talk about build quality, that door slam actually feels pretty good. You also get soft padding on the top surface, soft padding where you rest your elbow, soft padding in the center, and that also extends along here as well on top of the dashboard. And you also get this nice leather wrap steering wheel as well. That feels great to grip onto, but of course, like every car, it does get a bit hard and scratchy on the bottom section, even on the bottom of the doors. But again, for the price tag, this looks and feels pretty good. And if we move on to comfort, there's dual zone climate control with a dedicated menu for your climate functions, and you can also turn on your seat heating and ventilation from here as well. The passenger side gets 4-way electric adjustment, whilst the driver gets 6-way electric adjustment with seat memory and electric lumbar support. And the seats are finished off in synthetic leather. The steering wheel can also be heated, and the steering offers both manual, tilt and reach adjustment. And if we now move on to infotainment, it all runs off this 14.8-inch touchscreen, which is in the form of a portrait. But it is worth pointing out that there are no physical buttons, especially for the climate control, and I don't really like these touch-sensitive buttons. But overall, the menus are pretty easy to work out. You can cycle between different tabs using these shortcut buttons, and you can even go into your last menu quite easily. But it would be better if this did come with physical buttons, especially for the climate control and volume dial, because these touch sensitive buttons aren't really great on the steering wheel. And in terms of key features, there's voice recognition, and inbuilt satellite navigation with 3D mapping, and that is what it looks like on the screen. And if we go into media, you get an 8-speaker Sony sound system. There's also FM, AM, DAB digital radio, USB and Bluetooth for audio, and USB video as well. And for smartphone integration, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are both wireless. And if I go into this menu here, as you can see, this will bring up your dash cam. So up the top here, you insert a memory card and you can pre-record stuff, which is pretty cool, and also take photos. And if I go into the main settings, this will enable most of the car's functions like your central locking, rear boot lid and the sunroof. And you can also configure the drive modes from here between power modes, HEV, EV and EV+, plus your driving modes between Eco, Normal and Sport. There's also energy consumption menus as well, and there are also various ways to control the battery internals. And there are also various ways to configure the steering and brake pedal feel. Next, if we now move on to this screen in the middle, this will show you all of your vital information. And if you go into the settings over here, there are 2 different configurations to pick from. And there's also a heads-up display over the dashboard showing speed sign recognition, speed and driver assistance. And if we now move on to safety, there's a 360-degree camera system with these guidelines, and you can cycle between different angles and views and even go into a 3D mode as well, and also configure some angles from there. There are also front and rear parking sensors, a rear cross traffic alert, an auto dimming rear view mirror, autonomous emergency braking, blind spot assist on the wing mirrors with safe exit warning, so if you open the doors and a car is coming your way, it'll alert you. Adaptive cruise control with a semi-autonomous steering function. There's also a lane keeping assistant with a lane departure warning. And over in the center, a driver fatigue monitoring system. And finally, speed sign recognition. And if we now move on to storage, you've got a wireless phone charging pad that can keep your phone cool. There are also 2 small cup holders and decent center storage as well that does go down pretty far deep, and that is also air conditioned. There's also more storage down the bottom here with a 12-volt socket, USB-C and USB-A port, a little shopping bag hook over here. The door bins aren't really that large, but you do get a decent sized glove box with a soft opening. And finally, a little section down the bottom here. And if we now move on to the back seats, as you can see, this front driver's seat is set my position, and I've got plenty of knee room, plenty of toe room and plenty of headroom as well. And if I move over to the middle seat, again, decent toe room thanks to the flat floor, and also decent headroom as well. But it is worth pointing out that you don't have any ability to move the seats forwards or backwards or recline them backwards or forwards, but you can, like on a Lexus, move the passenger seat forwards and backwards and forwards. So that is going to give the left passenger a bit more legroom. And in addition to other key features, there are some map pockets behind the front row seats with device holders, a single directional air vent with a USB-C and A port, grab handles up the top here with LED lighting. The door bin storage isn't really that great, but you do get a flip down armrest with 2 small cup holders. And finally, the 2 outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible, and right behind me, there are 3 top tether points. And if we now move on to boot space, you get an electric power tailgate system, and in terms of what you can actually fit back here, there is enough room for 2 carry-on suitcases or even a single large suitcase. Plus you've also got a flat loading bay, tie down points to keep items secure, a 12-volt socket with LED lighting, and also some underfloor storage for your charging cables and tyre repair kit. But as you can see, no spare wheel like you do get in the model grades below this. And you can also drop down the second row seats, but just keep in mind that those seat belts do get in the way, which can be a bit annoying. Shopping bag hooks on either side and up the top here as well. But it is worth pointing out that you don't get any cutaway sections like you do get in some other rivals. And finally, in terms of specifications about the boot volume, everything you need to know is on your screen right now. Let's talk about what drives the Jaecoo. So the petrol powered version gets a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine that is linked with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic that is linked to a 7-speed transmission, whereas this plug-in hybrid version gets a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and also only available in front-wheel drive, whereas the normal petrol version gets the choice between all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive. And there's also AC and DC charging plus an 18.3 kilowatt hour battery pack. And Jaecoo claims that this should be able to achieve 90 kilometers of range of pure EV driving, and together with the petrol engine, a total range of 1,200 kilometers. And on the other side, that is where you're going to find your 60 litre fuel tank. And I know it says 91 RON, but according to the spec guide, this is recommended to run on 95 premium. And for all the facts and figures about this powertrain system, everything you need to know is on your screen right now. Okay, moving on to the driving impressions. Over the bonnet, there's great forward visibility, and you also sit nice and high up, giving you that commanding driving position. There's also good side vision, decent sized wing mirrors. However, at the back, rear vision could be a bit better because that rear window is a bit narrow, and the rear vision mirror itself only specifically looks at the back seat, not the rear window. Now, in terms of the controls, you've got your gear selector on the top right hand corner, indicators on the left, and the 360 camera pops up every time you indicate. The mirror controls are a bit confusing, and I don't like the window switches because you've got to press up to go down and down to go up. The accelerator pedal is also nice and smooth when you apply acceleration, and the brake pedal feel, it's not lurchy and it responds pretty well. And in terms of steering, it seems to change directions quite normally. There is a bit of simulated weightness to it, but overall it is nice and light for everyday driving. The tyres aren't the grippiest, they are eco tyres after all, and they do make a bit of noise when you reach higher speeds, so you do get a bit of tyre roar coming into the cabin, but not really that much wind noise. And you can also adjust your regen braking as well, so loads of configurability when it comes to the driving modes, and I think enough configuration. Now, if I put my foot down, it seems to get up to speed quite well. It does puff out past 70 kilometers, but if you do put it into sports mode, it is a lot more responsive, but you've got a lot of torque going to those front wheels, so in the wet, that could be something to consider. But yeah, it's definitely not the quickest PHEV on the market, but quick enough for everyday scenarios. And if we move on to driver assistance, apart from the driver fatigue monitoring system and setting up the adaptive cruise control, everything seems to be working okay. It doesn't come across annoying. So yes, there are some things that could be improved, but putting that aside, I still think this car offers a lot of value and it drives really well for the price tag. And if we talk about fuel consumption and energy consumption, on your screen is what I was able to achieve combined with the manufacturer's claim, and that is driving around the Southern Highlands in stop-start traffic, around the town centre and around the countryside as well. So a good mixture. I've been in this for around 30 minutes and I'm pretty happy with those figures. So with my driving impressions out of the way, let's now wrap up with a verdict. So then, what is my final verdict on the Jaecoo J7 PHEV? Well, there are some things that could be a bit better, but this is overall a very good effort when it comes to design, presentation, price point, the total driving range and running costs. But tell me in the comments down below, would you go for this or something else? And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date with my latest car reviews. But for now, I will see you in the next film, and thanks for watching.